We are live today. I hope everyone had a wonderful, wonderful holiday season and is having a holiday season because we're now embracing and waiting for the new year. Super excited. Can't find my pen. Okay, it's right here. So I thought it would be really fun to come on here today and give you guys an amazing training on this deep identity work that I do every year. And of course, I'm doing it now on myself. And I thought since I'm really in it right now, it would be so much fun to do this with you guys. So let's start the training. Let me know where you're watching from and what are your identity goals when it comes to 2023. Put that in the chat or the comments if you're watching this in the replay. Welcome in, everyone. I love to see where everyone is coming in from because we have literally people here from all over the planet. Okay. So before we start, let me give you sort of a little training debriefing kind of thing that I do. I've been doing this a lot in my recent private courses and things, which will really help you settle in your energy and receive the most that you can from this training and every training after this point. So depending on which stage of consciousness you are, basic babe, self-aware Barbie, $1,000,000 babe, you receive information very differently or don't. And this is really important for you to be able to receive information, and then that translates into receive on a bigger level everything else in your life if you understand this. So the human brain, the way that we have evolved with the human brain is that it is less than 2% of your body weight, but it takes up about 25% of your energy intake. So the brain consumes about 25% of your calories that you consume. So what I'm trying to say is that it's a very, very expensive organ, right? Because it's a very energetically expensive organ, it conserves energy wherever it can. And when you send it certain signals, it shuts off to conserve energy. And how the basic babe and the self-aware Barbie do this is a little bit different, but they're basically both not learning anything. Okay, so if you want to see this in action, you can see a little bit of it already happening in the chat. But if you go back to my previous video, which was my millionaire law of attraction vision board video that I just posted, I think last week, you'll see it in the comments. I mean, I could do this as a case study. So if you were to open up the chat, or not the chat, I'm sorry, the comments of that video, the people in there in the comments that are talking about something completely other than the training. So the women in there that are like, can you tell me what hair vitamins you take? Keep in mind that video has nothing to do with hair, right? Or what should I do if my husband says blah, blah, blah? Nothing to do with the video. Those are the basic babes conserving mental energy. So what the basic babe does is she doesn't receive information. She tries to get you to go somewhere else. I learned this years ago when I remember this one time I had a Facebook group at that time. And there was a woman in there, very much basic babe consciousness, that just kept asking all of these questions in there. I literally dropped everything I was doing and went and filmed a video for her, a very detailed video answering a lot of her questions. She saw the video and her comment in there was, this was her entire comment: can you tell me about XYZ? She didn't acknowledge the video. She didn't receive the video. There was no thank you. There was no receiving anything. It was like, I see this, but can you go over there? It's like, this is happening here. Look at that bird. They can't receive, they sidetrack. So we have a little bit of that going on in this training, and this is very important. Why is this important? Because you need to be self-aware of how you bypass your receiving. What is your tendency? So the basic babe goes, look at that thing over there. Can you answer that question over there? She can't be here right now to receive the information. If this is you, be honest and decide that you're not going to conserve energy with your brain and you're going to focus and really, really deliciously receive the information, because how you receive anything is how you receive everything. So if you're not receiving this training and you're putting your precious time and energy by being here, then you're not receiving anything in your life. If you go in the comments, in the chat right now, we're doing this live, the women that showed up asking about a training that they want me to do in the new year about the law of attraction, we're doing this right now. Come over here with me, okay? We're not going to the next year yet. Right now is December 27th when you're watching this. This is happening live. Be here with me here. Okay, so that's how the basic babe does it. The self-aware Barbie comes in teaching everywhere she goes. She comes here spitting information. So if you go back to the video that I just referenced, the Millionaire Vision Board video, those were the women in there that saw the video but didn't receive anything, and they are teaching you how to create your vision board. Why would you show up on a information video and be spitting out more information when you haven't received anything here yet? Okay, how does the $1 Million Babe do it? You'll see those people in the comments too. Thank you so much, Mina. Thank you. What are they saying? They're saying, I receive this information. I receive it. Thank you. This was helpful in blah, 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 blah way. Okay. That's the energy that I embody everywhere I go. Because if I'm going to put my precious energy and my energetic resources into something, I'm going to be in the receiving energy. I'm not going to send the brain the signal of like, look over there, be distracted, or I'm here to learn, but actually I'm just going to spit information at you. Okay. Be aware. No shame in this game. We're all self-aware. I have been in the self-aware Barbie stage myself. And so I used to show up in every interaction spitting out information, and no one wanted information from a disembodied person. So it was quite sad because I wanted to give all this information and no one was seeing me as an expert. Now everyone sees me as an expert, right? People pay me thousands of dollars for my expertise because I'm receiving information, I'm embodying it on a deep cellular level, and then that goes out in a completely different field. So go ahead and settle in. You're here to learn. And if you got something to teach, amazing. Create a platform for that. Call in your tribe and teach those people. But right now you showed up here because there was something you wanted to actually take in and embody. So put yourself in the energy of receiving. That will be really priming your brain to embody stuff versus just spitting it out. All right. So why is identity shifting so important? Okay. Why it's important is because when we are born as little Homo sapien babies, we have infinite potential at birth to be able to absorb things from our environment. This was a huge evolutionary advantage. It actually makes us far like more conscious than other species because other species, they're already born with certain programming, their instincts, right? So for example, when a squirrel baby is born in the spring, it already knows what it's supposed to be doing in the fall for like getting nuts and getting ready for hibernation. It's programmed in it. For us, certain things are programmed, like crying so that our parents know to meet our needs and things like that. But a large part of our consciousness is left open so that we can learn the mother tongue of our tribe. We can learn the ways of our tribal communities, right? So a lot of it is programmed through our life. So for example, a baby born in Japan can just as with ease learn Japanese and then turn off all of the other language potential because that's what the baby hears in Japan, right? A baby born in Mexico learns Spanish and can let go of all of the other capacity to learn other language. Now, can the Japanese baby grow up and decide that it wants to learn another language? Yes, it can activate that part again and learn another language. But for the most part, whatever we focus our attention on, through our environment, through our upbringing, or through our conscious decision as adults, gets stronger. It becomes a part of our identity, and everything else kind of falls away. I think the official scientific word is I can't pronounce this correctly, but it atrophies. So for example, if I decided for some really weird reason that I was only going to work out the right my right arm and that I wasn't going to work out anything else, well, the muscles in my right arm would keep getting stronger and stronger, but the rest of my body would atrophy. It would just become like mush, right? It would just go away from my consciousness. So, why identity shifting is important is because without even realizing it, when you were little, your identity got programmed for certain beliefs and certain truths. And even when you think you're quantum leaping, we have a tendency to stay close to that identity. It takes a lot of effort, conscious, like focusing of our attention to be able to go beyond that. That's what we call breaking generational curses. That's what we call, breaking away from the pack. Anyone that's like a self-made millionaire that was born into poverty knows that, right? Anyone that comes from a history of broken relationships in your family and now you have a successful relationship, you know how much like new learning and new conscious effort. I have some weird hair here that I can't get, probably from my fuzzy sweater, that you have to focus in. So, identity shifting is a very important part of inner work. In fact, it is the outcome of inner work that we're looking for. We are hoping that as we do our inner work, our identity keeps shifting because we're decoding our distortions. So if you're watching this in the chat live or in the comments in the replay, put decoding my distortions. Put that in the chat right now if you are ready to receive this information. Okay. So we have a lot of distortion. So for example, the same example of the baby born in Japan now speaking Japanese, one of the distortions of that person might be that they can only speak Japanese. Well, no, they can speak other languages. They just have to put some conscious effort into it, right? They can learn that, right? Also, a huge limitation might be the concepts that are only available in the Japanese culture are the only ones that this person would understand because that's a part of their identity. They're Japanese. But is it possible that they could move to the United States or some other country, European country, somewhere else, and learn a whole different language, whole other identity, whole other ways of being, eat different foods? Yeah, well, of course, duh, right? A lot of us are immigrants or children of immigrants. Our parents literally did that, right? Or maybe we did that. So your inner work helps you decode your distortions so that you are up leveling your identity. Okay, so the question that we want to ask is then for 2023, or maybe you're watching this in 2027, whatever year you're going into, you want to ask the question, who do I want to be now? Who do I want to be now? That's going to be your next journaling prompt. To give you an idea of how important this is, I've been journaling this for the last 3 months consistently, and new things are showing up. It's that important that I've been doing it for 3 months consistently in preparation for 2023. So if someone would put that in the chat for us, who do you want to be now? What is the identity, the identification, the ID, the id that you want to take on? Because the truth is that you can take on any identity because you are not the identity. You are the observer, the consciousness behind the identity, which means you can choose to be anything that you want to be. You can choose any identity. It is not limited by your nationality or the culture that you were born in or your gender or whatever. Like you can choose any identity that you want to and define it very concretely. Okay, so who do you want to be now? And what does that mean to you? So the reason I've been doing this consistently for 3 months is because typically the way information is revealed to me, it's not always revealed in just this one block of thought. It can often be revealed in many days or many weeks or many months in different flavors. And so it's been slowly being revealed to me and I'm getting to intimately know her. This next level version of her. Who is her? What does her eat? What are her core beliefs? How does she speak? What is she known for? What kind of foods does she eat? How does she dress? What kind of restaurants does she go to? What kind of friends does she have? Who is her lover? What does she worship? Who worships her? Who does she want to be a hero to? Who is her hero? Okay. So you can go really deep into this and really start decoding, letting it come through you literally. Who is her? Who is her, right? And starting to kind of, what's the word here? It's like reverse engineer her entirety. Like, who is she being? Let me see what you guys are saying. Check in with you guys. I like hearing about your process. Very relatable. Makes me think I can do this. Absolutely. Any person, anyone can do this. Absolutely. And many times. You will need to do this many, many times. Because every year there's new levels that I'm being awakened to. There's new things God is speaking through me, and there's new things that I have to embody. That's the whole point of incarnating into this planet, is to keep growing and experiencing new things. You keep me accountable. Love it. This is so profound. Oh my God, thank you. You're so welcome, Alicia. I love this. I just graduated and I've been asking myself these questions. Beautiful, beautiful. So if you were at uni, you had a certain identity, right? And sometimes, not sometimes, but most of the time, we have our identity and then there's a collective identity. Okay, this is something I'm going to be teaching in Barkat. I don't know which lesson I'm going to put this in, but there is a literal field that has been now scientifically discovered and heavily studied, which proves that there is a collective consciousness. With Carl Jung talks about this years ago, right? It's scientifically proven now that there's an actual field that is responsible for us infecting each other with our identities. And so this is very true in the university space. When you're in college, you take on the identity of the college student as programmed by the collective, right? And if that works for you, that's great. But there will be a time where that will not work for you, or you need to transcend out of that. And at that time, you have to start thinking bigger. You have to start thinking and looking at a different possibility. For me, I don't believe in doing superficial identity work or law of attraction work or manifestation work. I like my things to be robust. I build my life and my success and everything in my life on a very robust foundation. I myself, being a feminine essence being, I don't feel comfortable in rocky situations. I don't feel comfortable on an unbalanced platform. I get that sensation from heels, and that's where I want to keep it. Okay, I love me my 5-6 inch heels. You guys know that. I rock that, but I like my life to be stable, because if I'm going to be walking around in 6-inch heels, I need the concrete to be able to hold me. I need the floor to be able to hold me. If I'm in 6-inch heels and, the whole foundation of my life is rocky, that's going to be a disastrous situation, as you can imagine. So I don't want that. So I build my life on very robust principles. And yes, I am married to a processing improvement expert and an engineer. So I get that language, that robustness from him. And Irfan explained this to me once years ago, and I loved it. He said that if an engineer has been given the project of building a building, a high-rise building, his his goal isn't just going to be to build the tallest building possible. His goal is going to be to build the tallest, most stable building possible. And I love this, because he said that, let's say that I discover that I can build a building that goes 100 stories high, but it's very unstable. Well, I'm better off going to 70 stories high, but letting it be robust. It's like rock solid. And I'm like, I love that analogy. And so, can you do identity work, mirror work, inner child work, um, any kind of inner work, I would say, manifestation work, in a very superficial way? Yes, you can. but you would be like that 100-story building, that one hit wonder that gets it right sometimes, but the whole thing can crumble really fast because it's not robust. So I like taking the long road, the slower road, making sure that it's really robust. So if two engineers were building a building, I don't want to be the one that builds the fastest, tallest building, but then you're afraid to be in it because it can like fall down any second. I want to have the building that's like robust. You're like safe in it, right? It's forever. Like once you have it, you have it. So that's a part of my identity. That's why I take my time, even if it means journaling on the same damn question 3 months. And so really like really getting into it and going slow to go fast. Because at the end of the day, even if the other engineer builds the building faster than me, if it falls down in 2 months, who's really actually winning, right? So that's why I say that with inner work, you actually have to go slow to go fast. That is the big paradox of inner work. The slower you go, the faster everyone else sees you evolving. You cover more distance by going slow, actually. By like really making sure you're doing it. All right? I love that. Like my rockiness to come from heels. Total feminine energy. Hi, Diane. It's so nice to see you. It's been a minute. I like the heels metaphor. We can swap out the fun things, but the structure needs to be well built. Yes. I have gone on all kinds of rocky structures with heels. I've been wearing heels since I was 16. So I've had quite a couple of decades there of history with heels, and it's a whole different vibe to be wearing heels on a very solid, stable foundation versus something very rocky. I've even gone hiking in heels. You guys know this? So yes, you want to make sure that what you're building is solid, it's real, it's robust. Okay, so here's the second assignment that I'm going to give you in this process. So number one was, who do you want to be now? Number two is, what identity shift will make the most difference in my life now? This is for those of you guys out there like myself who want it all. I'm like you, okay? I do want it all. I don't just want to be in my dream body, but then, by myself and broke. Like that was never me, okay? I also don't want to be in my soulmate relationship and then overweight and unhealthy. Like that's just not me. That is not part of my identity. Like Mina Irfan's identity is that she gets to freaking have it all. Like that's just the identity that I've decided to build in this life. And so because of that, I've had to critically ask myself at this point in my journey, what is the one big identity shift that will make the biggest difference? Because that's me building the pillar. So for example, I can't believe I'm using this as an example because I'm not an engineer or an architect. I don't know why this keeps coming up, but let's say I was to build a house. Okay. And let's say you commissioned me to build a house for you. And you show up and there's just a plot right now. There's like no house, nothing. And I'm over here talking about building your dream closet. At first you're gonna be really excited, right? You're gonna be like, yes, girl, give me my dream closet. Like, I want like a shoe station, I want a handbag station, I want somewhere for my dresses, right? And then you're excited and pumped up. The next day you show up, okay, now I'm talking about your dream bathroom. And you're like, okay, yeah, my dream bathroom, give me a bathtub and a fireplace. And like, this is the fireplace that is on the other side is my bathtub. So like I'm telling you, you show up the third day and and you're like, dude, you haven't done anything. Like it's been a week. You talked about the closet. You got me all excited. You talked about the damn bathtub. You talked about this amazing dining room. Like you haven't laid like where's the house? Like, what are we building this on? Okay. You've been feeding me a lot of words, but like I don't see any progress. Well, that's how most people go about their identity shifts or their personality transformations or their manifestation. You just hear a whole bunch of lip service. You know those people, maybe we've been those people that like you just roll their eyes because now they're talking about this other thing they're going to do. They haven't done jack whatever in the other 50 things they talked about, right? So, but if you showed up and you see me laying out the concrete or whatever the hell people do when they're building homes, right? And you see me putting up the walls, okay? Like, that's the thing. When I say what's the one thing that will make the most difference, if I'm making your house, you're gonna be like, how about you stop giving me lip service about my closet and like do some, like, lay down the concrete here, lay down the foundation. That would make the most difference, because I can actually imagine that the bathroom will show up and the closet will show up at some point, right? So lay down the foundation first. Now that might be different for everyone, right? When I started my real deep inner work, I was so much in my autoimmune disease that I couldn't lift my 18-month-old son. I had a two-story house, the previous house we were living in. I couldn't go up the second floor. Like, I barely went up to the second floor. Our bedroom, master suite, was on the first floor, luckily. I barely went up there. My knees were like, I was 30 and my knees were 92. So at that time, when I said, what identity shift will make the most difference in my life? Not the dream closet, not me trying to be all feminine with my makeup, not me trying to wear feminine clothes. None of that would have mattered, because I literally couldn't bend my wrists or my fingers or my knees. I was like full blown in rheumatoid arthritis land. Okay, being told by doctors that this was my fate now. This is what I was gonna live. I was gonna be on medications for the rest of my life, and that was it, right? So if I ask myself this question, the obvious answer should be, your identity needs to be of someone who's healthy. Like, that's the big shift. Like, you need to throw everything in the kitchen sink energetically, physically, at that first. You can't be putting makeup on top of that. There was like, my baby would like put his arms up, and I would have to sit there and think, did I have enough joint power to be able to lift him? You know what I would tell him? This is so sad. I would sit down on the ground and tell him to crawl up on me. That's how bad it was for me. So that I could give him the illusion that I was holding him, but he had done all the work. Mama couldn't lift him. So in your life, you are going to have certain areas that are like your pressing areas, that are like, that's the thing that you need to focus on first. That is going to make the biggest identity shift in your life. Go with that thing first. When I fixed that, it created a ripple effect in other areas, and then the next thing revealed itself. The next desire showed up. The next identity upgrade, the next identity shift naturally showed up, because now there was space for me to notice that beyond my joint pain, beyond my suffering that I was going through, which it was real. I know many of you guys have either had experience with RA or know people who have it. You think your life is over. Like, it is an intense kind of pain and suffering. So what is that for you right now? For you, it may be calling in the one, or it might be advancing in your career, or it might be making more money, right? Or it may be losing weight. Like, whatever that first identity, that pressing one is for you, that needs to be the one that you focus on. I just made the shift to being grain-free. Thank you. Awesome. I'm so happy for you, babe. That made the biggest difference in my life. I love you too, babe. Thank you. Okay. How do you know which one to focus on? By asking the question, which will make the biggest shift in my life? Which will make the biggest difference in my life right now? Sometimes it's so big that it's like obvious. Like, the rheumatoid arthritis for me was so freaking big. It was obvious. I couldn't enjoy my marriage. I couldn't enjoy my children. I couldn't enjoy my house. Like, at that time, if someone was like, upgrade your wardrobe, I would want to punch them in the face, because I'm like, I can barely move my joint. I'm not upgrading my wardrobe, right? Like, my knees are giving in. So it was obvious. At other points in my life, like 2022, it wasn't obvious. So let's talk about let's use this time now to I'm gonna help you guys decode my entire 2022 and see how I made those identity. 2022, oh my goodness, this one is going down in the record books. Oh my God, what a year. Interestingly enough, this is what I was coming up with as I was journaling about 2022, just as a celebration exercise. There's so many years that have passed in my life where I remember one or two key things from that year. Let me know if you resonate with this. I'm sure many of you do, where you've had many years of your life where it was like, in 2026 or 2016 this happened, or 20, but it's like one or two things, right? 2022 is one of those years for me where I remember every month in amazing, like 5D detail. And it's, you, if you know anything about me, you know I had a whole story around having a bad memory, and Armand's here in the chat right now, he can attest to this. I said this for many years, I don't have the best memory, right? You guys have probably heard me saying this. The fact that I remember every single month of 2022, I've been journaling on this, and I'm someone that I would have a hard time remembering what I ate for dinner last night, but I remember every single month in 2022, and here's why. I made a quantum leap every single month of 2022, so huge and so large that it actually left an imprint on my DNA. Like, my brain doesn't need to remember it. My DNA is like, damn, like it's that big. So I think this will be a really good month for us to decode. So when I woke up in 2022, I start that year's identity recoding the previous year. So let's go back to September, October of 2021. That's when I'm like, who am I going to become? Who am I going to become? I start posing those questions and sending them out into the universe, knowing that the answers will come from the field. So think of Mina in 2021 September, and she's just sending out this message. Who am I going to become now? Who am I supposed to be now? Who do you want me to be now? What's my identity, right? Like, I just start sending that out into the field. I wake up in 2022, and the answer is make bolder, faster decisions. Okay, that's the answer that I got. Make bolder, faster decisions. And here was the key. I'm gonna like come in close to explain this to you. Okay, you can see each of my pores and the whole thing. Okay, the thing that followed it was make your decision so bold and so robust that every single person that comes into a certain radius of your field is transformed by your decision. You don't have to tell them. You don't have to convince them. You don't have to have them co-sign with you. They change themselves. Like, it's like whoever enters your field gets completely up-leveled by the decision that you have made. That's the identity that showed up. Okay? Now, how do you do this, right? So I'm like, okay, so make faster, bolder decisions and make them in such a powerful way that everyone that enters your field is somehow up-leveled and transformed. So now I didn't know how to do this. And so I'm like, okay, I'm going to up-level my looks. I'm just like completely going to change my looks. I'm going to drop the 7 pounds that I gained over the pandemic. I'm gonna have the healthiest hair of my life. I'm gonna up-level my makeup. I'm just gonna look like the best version of myself that I've ever looked. Okay, so I put that out there, made that decision, okay? I instantly get the decision, the download to stop drinking coffee. Now you might be thinking, well, what does coffee have to do with it? I don't know. I don't know. I'm literally just putting out into the field that that's what I'm deciding. And just like that, it's like, stop drinking coffee. So you guys know on January 1st, 2022, I gave up drinking coffee. Instantly, I gave up drinking coffee. For 2 weeks after that, I'm freaking miserable, like miserable. I thought I was dying, okay? So sick, like you would think I gave up cocaine. Like, that's how my symptoms were. I had been drinking 1 cup of coffee for like 20 years, and I'm like miserable and dying, and my family is like waiting on me hand and foot. After I get on the other side of those 2 weeks, I am so energetic that I'm like literally bouncing off the walls. My family is just surprised. They're like, are you okay? Like, because I've never had this level of energy. Within a month, I dropped 7 pounds. You guys can go see my 2021 videos. Everything I do it's saved here on YouTube. You can go and like literally go back and see the transformation. If you see my 2021 videos, and then if you see my 22 videos, you will instantly notice a huge upgrade in looks. A huge upgrade in my looks, just like that. That was the power of the decision. It was just like done, right? Then I plan on doing my first in-person intensive after COVID. We had like put everything on hold like everyone else. And the thought comes to me, bigger, bolder decisions, bigger, bolder decisions. So I'm journaling on this, and what comes up is I want to write down all the places that I've ever wanted to do intensives on. Okay, so I wrote down all these amazing places, and like the last holy grail place is Hawaii. Last holy grail place is Hawaii. It's like Hawaii is like the ultimate one because I love Hawaii. Okay, and so I'm looking at the list and going, this is the year that we make bold, powerful decisions. Okay, so I'm not gonna do the caterpillar here and say I have to go through all these other 9 places first and then somehow work my way up to Hawaii. And so I journaled, I said, what is it about Hawaii that makes it the ultimatum? And what came up for me was Hawaii is where the big boys do stuff, the big girls. And I'm like, what the F does that even mean? I'm a big girl, okay? I'm a big girl. I get to do it in Hawaii. So I literally just that day skipped, like crossed off the other 9 things off my list. In fact, one of the other items on the list also happened. One was to do it in Europe. That also happened the same year. And I was like, okay, we're just gonna like drop to level 10 and just do that. So that day I announced my Hawaii intensive. And that also ended up being my first solo trip ever in my life. Okay, I had all of these limiting beliefs. So this is literally me making bold decisions where you can't come back from them. When I announced the Hawaii intensive, that same minute someone paid for it, you can't come back from that. It's done. It's done. Okay. Once you take your first solo trip at the age of, I was 41 at the time, earlier this year, you can't, it changes you, right? Like you can't come back to the old version of you. So like, I just did it. Now, there was another item on my list, and it was, I wanted to have an in-person intensive at the Ritz-Carlton, but it was like, well, I have to work my way up. Nope. This is the year that we make bold, irreversible power moves. So instead of saying that I'm going to go to all of these other stages first, we're just going to cross those off, and I'm just going to do it at the Ritz. I contacted them, had my first Hawaii intensive there. At the end of that intensive, they approached me for a meeting, and they said, we want to have a lifelong relationship with you. We want to host all of your intensives here. In fact, 3 of the employees at the Ritz-Carlton are currently my students. So that's what I talk about, that everyone that enters your field is somehow transformed. Not only did I, by saying I'm going to just cross off the other options and just go for the big one, they became my students. They became my students. They were transformed when they came into my field. By the way, 99% of the time when I hold an intensive at any property, 99% of the time, the people coordinating the event end up becoming either subscribers or students or both. So this is the power of you embodying your deepest truth. It's like DNA level. People are like, damn, who's she? It's not like I'm the only person on the planet doing in-person intensive. There's plenty of people doing them, right? How come they're not becoming their students? Because I'm walking in with a certain energy. I have already put it out. I've gridded my energy for whoever comes to my energy is transformed. They're changed. They're up-leveled in some way, okay? So in January, I quit coffee. February, my entire looks changed. I announced my first in-person intensive in Hawaii. March, we were in Mexico. I had my first 100K week in Mexico in March. I remember this year like the back of my hand because so freaking much happened. I was already making 100K months at that time, and I decided that that was boring now. Been there, done that. I want to make bold identity moves. I want to be the kind of identity that makes 100K weeks. And so I went to Hawaii I'm sorry, Mexico, one of my favorite places to vacation. Went to Mexico, let myself be completely taken by the hospitality and the love and the open heart of the one of the reasons I love Mexico and Hawaii so much is because both of these people have the highest number of residents with open hearts, and the field there of love is just so strong. So I completely surrendered to them just taking care of me and just pampering me with their loving energy. And I made that. In fact, I said 100K week. I did it in 4 days. I made my first 100K 4 days. I collapsed time. This was in March. In April, on April 6th, my mother's birthday, I had my first in-person intensive in Hawaii at the Ritz-Carlton, and fully sold out. In fact, oversold. We had to cram in a few people in there. Ritz-Carlton approaches me and says that they want to have a lifelong relationship with me. They want to be the exclusive property that I host my intensives every time I'm in Hawaii. That happens. They become my students. While I'm in Hawaii, my husband is surprising me with a 4-week luxury getaway to Europe starting in May. So I come back home in April after my fabulous in-person intensive. In May, we leave for 4 weeks luxury, like the ultimate, like I'm talking butlers and like that kind of luxury I had not experienced before. Go on this trip, first class everything, most high-end resorts, and we have the most amazing 4 weeks in Europe. 16 cities, amazing. While I'm doing that, my husband decides to reroute our trip. Instead of coming back home, we're gonna go through Mexico, one of my absolute favorite places. Like I said, I love the heart energy. Anytime there is countries where a lot of the residents have open hearts, the vibration of that energy is going to be fire. It's gonna be next level, right? So we reroute through there, another luxury experience. I come back home. In the minute we come, 2 days later, we start house hunting. 2 days later, we rested for 2 days. We start house hunting. The second day, I find this house. We're in June now. The second day, we find this house, put an offer in. June 29th, move in. Move in to the mansion of my dreams. June 29th, done. July, I have my 4th in-person intensive. Oh, I forgot to tell you about my 3rd. So this year, I had 2 in-person intensives in Hawaii. Instead of going, let's just do 1, why not do 2? We're going bold. We're shifting our identity completely. So instead of having 1, I had 2 in-person intensives in Hawaii. My 3rd in-person intensive happened in Europe, which was also a lifelong dream of mine to teach in Europe. Happens in Lisbon, Portugal. In July, 2 weeks after I moved into this house, I have my 4th in-person intensive in Houston, making this the most in-person intensives I had in 1 year. The most. Are you starting to see how this year's theme was make faster, bolder decisions? Faster, bolder decisions, right? So August was the month, I got you guys to July, right? August was the month where we're like, okay, we're going to upgrade. So we had certain things we wanted to do in this house, kind of digest energy and really, really kind of take this energy, like kind of, it's like a hold the pose kind of month. So in August, I'm doing that. September, my husband and I go through this huge next level. Like every year, I'm like, this is like the most that a relationship can possibly go to. Like, how could it possibly be any more than this, right? Well, in September, my husband and I, through the upgrading of this neighborhood in this house, have a huge next level transformation. And if we thought our relationship was robust before, we go a completely new level. Like, can't even describe it in words. Didn't even think that there was another level beyond what we were, and we reached that level. Okay. In October, I launched a course that is like, it completely changes my identity another time. Meaning, I teach this course, completely channeled information on a level where my soul says, oh, this is what you came here to do. All the other stuff you've been teaching was simply just practice. This course was so powerful in my life that after I taught it, I almost was like, where do I go from here? Like, it completely rewired my identity. In November, I had my first $1 million month, complete, like just an identity shift. I decided I'm just gonna have $1 million month. And by the end of November, Thinkific approached me, that's the platform that we use, letting me know that before this, I was #2 on their top sellers list for many years. And they said, you have now made #1 seller. You guys have seen all those promos they've been doing on Instagram, the videos, the posts. So all of that compounded one after another. In December, I have this amazing experience with this brilliant psychic. I had actually reached out to my friend Sapphire, who works at who owns Evolve Alchemy, and she does all my Akashic work. I reached out to her and I said, babe, I taught this course in October. It's completely shifted my identity. I feel very disbalanced. I feel like I can't teach what I've been teaching now. I have to teach at this new level, but there's information coming through and I can't quite get it. She's like, I know who you need to talk to. She sends me to the psychic medium. I have this brilliant, this was just literally last week. I have this brilliant session with her. Amazing things happen. Oh my God, I forgot one thing. I forgot to tell you what also happened in this year. This year also, I manifested my dream, not only friends, but my dream best friend, my dream best friend. She actually came into my field. I have to tell you the story. So you guys know how I have my other YouTube channel, my $1 Million Babes channel. So last year I did a unboxing on that channel for this bracelet. I unboxed this Cartier bracelet on that channel. And she was in the market to buy this bracelet. And so she's on YouTube searching for, this is such a huge manifestation. I have to share the story too. So I had put it out there into the universe that I was ready to have like soulmate female friendships. Like I had my soulmate family, my soulmate lover, my soulmate like friends, right? Like I have everything, my soulmate clients. I'm like, I don't have a soulmate friend. I'm ready for my soulmate friend. So anyways, I put this video out there. She watches it and she's like, who is this chick? Because in that video, I was talking about being allergic to work, and she's also an entrepreneur. And so she comes to my other channel, realizes she loves my work, she loves my vibe, signs up for a whole bunch of my courses, and shows up on my Zoom meetings that I do live for a lot of my courses. When she shows up, I instantly like feel a connection with her. Like really strong connection. Not just like I like her vibe, but like I know her. Like she's my people. So I'm meeting her in these Zoom fields, and my heart is like, I know her. Like I want to be with her. Like there's something about her. Like, and I'm not like, I don't know what it is yet. In April, what did she come to the April intensive or the one after that or the June one? So I don't remember if it was the April intensive or the June intensive, but she comes to the Hawaii intensive, okay? And I'm standing there. It's 15 minutes before the intensive is gonna start. The girls haven't shown up yet, okay? She walks into the room and she introduces herself. And then she casually mentions that she's freaking living in Hawaii. She lives in Houston. And I'm mad. Okay, so at this point, I'm like, my instant reaction isn't excitement. I'm mad. I'm like, why did you not tell me this? I thought you lived in I thought you lived in Florida. And she's like, no, I live in Houston. And then she goes, oh my God, I have chills. She goes, I have decided that we are going to be friends. it was like my heart jumped out of my body. I'm having like this out of body experience. We start chatting. We're in Hawaii for a week. After the intensive, we're like going out to dinners, shopping, breaking like all of these weird limiting beliefs I had around friendships and stuff like that. We come back, we start like going to lunches, dinners, shopping. We have this soul residence. She's like, the interesting thing is that she's like a lot older than me, right? And I always make friends in any age gap, but it's just like we're so different outwardly, but like there's soul resonance. And we just keep saying to each other, like, oh my God, you just get me. I feel so seen. Like we can finish each other's sentences. It's just divine, right? I'm talking to that psychic and I mentioned her. I said, what can you tell me about my friend Terry? And she goes, she's your mother from another lifetime. And I'm like, tears. I'm like, I freaking knew it. She said, you guys have been together before. That's why you get each other on such a deep level. And she said that even though my relationship with her isn't like this motherly energy, it's very much pure being seen, soul resonance. But at that time, it made complete sense. We're like, that's why we feel so seen and heard in each other's company. It's like, I remember driving home a few weeks ago when I had lunch with her. I called her phone and I was like, babe, I found the one. And he's like, what? I'm like, my soulmate friend, I found the one. I'm like, she gets me. She like sees in my soul. And he's like, I'm so happy. So anyways, all of this happens in 1 year. Now, if I really sit down and decode this, there's so many other things that I left out. In November, no, this was in October. In October, we had the craziest jump in our net worth. Like typically, it's the kind of net worth jump that would take us maybe 2 years to accomplish, right? It happened in 1 month. Like if I really decode this this year, it is as if I lived 10 years in 1 year. I lived 10 years in 1 year. I covered the ground of 10 years in 1 year with that one identity shift. And to remind you what the identity shift this year was, here it is. Make faster, bolder decisions, create a ripple effect of upgrades of everyone that enters your field. Every single person that enters your field completely upgraded, okay? So I literally have chills now because I've been getting downloads of what's to come to 2023, and it's like it's equally as like exciting and scary and like kind of like, oh my God, kind of energy. But calm down, Mina. So that's the kind of decision that I want you to make. These are like DNA shifting decisions that you make. They are so much of an umbrella decision. Now, if I was sitting in 2021, I couldn't have told you, well, I'm going to have 4 intensives and Ritz-Carlton is going to approach me and I'm going to, I don't know. I didn't know how. I didn't know how. None of it was how. It was all like day to day, week to week, month to month. But when I look back now, whew, it was an entire recipe for the most fabulous year. Like, I wonder if people like have a whole lifetime worth of achievements and blessings as I just did in this 1 year. But here's the thing, are they making these level of decisions, right? Are they making these level of decisions? And the one thing that I can say to kind of recap this whole year and my entire life, 42 years of Mina Irfan, this is what I've been doing. I've just been getting better and better. And I know you guys, if you're a part of my mailing list, you've heard me say this. And if you're not, you need to be on my mailing list. It's in the description box for you guys. I sent this out in an email. My process was, I read this story years ago, decades ago, about Michelangelo was asked by the Pope. He was asked that, how did you build this amazing statue of David? And his answer shook me to the core. Shook me like you won't believe. What Michelangelo said, he said, the David was always there. I just removed everything that was not the David. Like, I don't know about you guys, but every time I say that, like I feel something awakening in me. I literally had chills when I read that for the first time. And it was something I saved. And I was like, whoa, Mina is always there. She's there. She's underneath all of the other stuff. She's underneath the old identities. She's underneath the conditioning. She's underneath the distortions. And every year, it's like I'm Michelangelo. I don't know how he created, but like, let's just imagine that this is how you create a statue. Every year, I take this weird statue making instrument and I chip away at everything that is not Mina Irfan. Every year, I and every year there's more, right? So 2022 was like 10 years worth of lifetime worth of work for me, of growth. But I'm realizing that going into 2023, there's still some stuff that's not Mina Irfan. And so now I'm chipping that away. So it's not so much of what you're adding. Here's the key. It is what you are removing. If you really look at my 2022, I removed coffee was the first decision that I made. This isn't about the damn coffee. If you drink your coffee, drink your coffee. That's just Mina Irfan, right? For you, we try to add stuff, but what if the you is already underneath? What if you don't have to add? What if you have to remove? Remove everything that's not you, okay? So I am constantly removing things that are not Mina Irfan. And this year, right now, I'm in the process of removing 80% of the things that are not Mina Irfan and focusing on the 20%. So this year, one of the biggest, boldest moves I made, because remember, I wanted to make big, bold moves that were irreversible. There was no self-sabotage. I couldn't go back. When I decided that it was time to upgrade the house, it was time to move, moving into this mansion, being in a completely new energy, new people, new like everything, upgraded me so massively and unveiled the Mina in such a big way. There's literally no going back. I can't like go and like sell this house and go back to like it just can't happen, right? So make those moves so big and so strong. And the last section of this, I'm gonna give you some concrete things that I do this that are gonna blow your brains. Like it's just gonna rock your world. Let me check in with you. I've been talking for a long time. I've been watching your subtraction video on replay. Awesome, babe. Remembering your future, girl. Hey. Let me see. How to avoid going back to old identity. So make irreversible decisions. Just literally just shared that. Okay, let me mention something really quickly. I know this is going to be of use to a lot of people that have been asking. So you guys know that the university bundle, which includes all of my current and future courses, is getting a makeover for 2023. So in 2023, when you purchase it or beyond, it's not going to be all courses, lifetime access, current and future. It's going to be changed. If there's still a few days left for people that wanted to get in on it, to help you guys out, I also added a 6-month extended payment plan. This is only active until 2022. So like December 31st, 2022, midnight, this ends. The literal university bundle will be like closed. You won't be able to buy it. I'm going to create a whole new one. It's going to be very different than what it is. So for those of you guys that like the way it is, where you get all current and future courses added to it forever, even if I launch $1 million worth of courses, now is the time to get it. It's a 6-month payment plan. You can also use the code I am worthy to get 11% off. Link is in the description box. We've also posted in the chat. We'll put it in the comments for you guys. Team Universe Group, if you can drop the university bundle link, it's in the description box way down below, but you can grab it in there. So just letting you guys know that's happening. Now, let me share with you how you can make it so that your decisions are easy and irreversible. Because a lot of times what we do is, you guys remember from my intersection of identities videos, we change our identity, but like we do it in a way where we're still giving ourselves the option to go back. Or we're still making it where we have to like struggle, fight our environment every single day. When we do this, it creates a lot of cognitive dissonance. It uses up a lot of willpower. You use up a lot of your decision fatigue, right? Like you experience decision fatigue. So here's how I do it. I change up 80% of my environment so that I'm setting myself up for success. So for example, when this year, when I was traveling to all of these luxurious high-end places, I would come back home to my house, which I loved, and we had just spent $80,000 upgrading it, but I would come back there and I would be like, I don't belong here. Like, I'm ready for the next level. So when we sold that house and moved here, that's an irreversible decision. Like my entire environment has changed. When I decided that I was going to quit coffee, 4 months prior to that, Irfan had gifted me a $500 fancy smanchy espresso machine, like one of those like $500 expensive ones. And then he had spent like hundreds of dollars in binding this special tablet things that go inside of them and special cups, right? I'm looking at that coffee machine and I'm thinking, if this thing stays here, I can't not drink coffee. Like I know myself, right? I knew I'd be able to do it for a week. I could use up my willpower for about a week, but I knew what was going to happen after that week. Does anyone want to take a guess, right? Thank you so much for those of you guys talking about giving your testimonials about the university bundle. Honestly, it is worth every single penny. It's worth gold. I'm like undercharging for it. So much value in it and so much more coming. So what did I do? I picked up that coffee machine, which I loved dearly, all of the gadgets and extra things that Irfan had bought, and I asked him his permission if it would be okay if I gifted that to his cousin, because we were going to go see his cousin, and I knew that she would love it. And he was like, "Are you sure?" I said, "Yes, it's the only way I cannot drink coffee." He said, "Okay." We gifted it. That is me making an irreplaceable decision, like irreversible decision. I'm priming my environment because you best believe if that coffee maker had stayed in my kitchen, I'd be drinking coffee. So when you make a decision, you have to make sure that everything in your environment is cleared of the old identity. Let me give you another example. I have been working on my wardrobe stuff for quite some time. It's part of my identity. It's like you're changing your identity through your wardrobe. And this year I wanted to go the next level. What I realized this year is that my wardrobe was no longer having the effect that I wanted to have. Meaning my identity was no longer matching the clothes that I was wearing. There was some kind of dissonance there. So first I decided that I was just going to move the old clothes to a certain part of my closet now that I have a ginormous closet, and then just buy new clothes. I did that for a week, but the old clothes were there. The energy was there. It was still an option. So I literally took down $10,000 worth of clothing and gave it to my housekeeper. She is living her best life. She's so happy. Her daughters and her are enjoying the clothing and the shoes. It gives me so much joy every time she texts me a picture of her daughter or her wearing the clothes. And it got cleared out of my environment. Because if it's still there, there's still the possibility of me reaching for it. There's still decision fatigue when I walk into my closet. There's still a choosing into an option of the old. I make decisions where there's no choosing into it. Like it literally got cleared out. And so I spent the last few months adding in very slowly the clothing pieces and items that match the new identity, the identity that I want to embody, the effect that I want to have. So the biggest advice that I can give you in your identity shifting is if you want to have a life where you don't have to fight your brain, you literally don't have to wrestle the old identity every day, change as much of your environment as possible. So if you're losing weight, what kind of foods should you have in your house? And completely remove the other foods. Like they should not be in your field. How I've done this as a family, because obviously I do have family members in my family that eat certain things that I don't, is we have different sections in our pantry. we have two refrigerators with different sections. Like I know the section that Irfan and I eat from because we eat similarly, and Arman's eat similarly too. So like that's our section, and then Alina and Ayan have other sections where they can eat there. So you can still do this in the best way possible. It's going to be different for everyone. Some people will sit there and make excuses about their partners not being in joining them and stuff. I did it by myself for 7 years before my husband started joining me on these kind of adventures. So I know that I'm a woman that no one can get in the way. Like everyone around me knows that when Mina makes a decision, get out of her way, because she will literally bulldoze over you. That is just the type of personality that I am. I've decided that, I've chosen into it. If you're not coming with me, get out of my way. Like that's just it. Because when I put my blinders on of where I'm going, everything else around it atrophies. It falls away. My focus is only on where I'm going. There is no doubt, to the heavens, the earth, to God, angels, that I'm not going to do it. Because when I decide in such a powerful way that it sends out the magnetic field into the heavens, and they've already decided. Like it's happening. Everyone just gets out of my way. That's how I want you to think about it. It is happening no matter what. It is happening. Like no one in my life, including myself, ever says, can Mina do it or not? If it came out of her mouth, it's freaking happening. Everyone knows it. That is an identity that I very much chose for myself, right? That is the identity that I want you to embody. So what environmental decisions can you make that are so concrete, so rock solid, that there's literally no going back? Okay. How to make an irreversible decision to not go back to a job or work. So how I did this, I can even tell you the year. 2021, I quit my job on the spot. I may or may not have physically given someone the finger, but I energetically definitely did. There was a particular boss's boss there that just got under my skin, let's just say. And I just quit on the spot. And that was the start of my entrepreneurial journey. I never looked back, never had a job after that. I was just like done. That's how I do it. That's how Mina Irfan does it. But how do you want to do it? The discount code, Arman, if you would put that in the chat, I am worthy, one word. 2001 was when I was just like, that's it. Now, changing the environment could mean many things to many people. Like sometimes I'll say changing the environment, and I'll get people saying things like, what if I can't move? Babe, we never said anything about moving. Changing the environment could mean, let me give you another example. Oh my God. Okay, this is a great one. So me, Irfan, and Arman, the three adults in the house, we're very good with our vitamins and taking our vitamins. And Alina and Ayan, after we moved into this house, were having trouble. They were not remembering to take their vitamins. And so we went through this process where I was having to remind them, or Irfan was, we were like, did you guys take your vitamins? Did you guys take your vitamins? And I try to, in our household, we're very structure and container based in our masculine energy. So that we can meet our feminine. So I was like, okay, what can I do so that, like, basically the question I asked was, where's the bottleneck here? Why are they forgetting to take their vitamins in this house, even though they weren't forgetting in the old house? So I asked them, I said, how come, what's happening? And they came up with two things. One was the location of the vitamins were in a place where they couldn't see it. And two, they did not like the consistency, the powder feel of the magnesium that we were all taking. So I said, okay, problem solved. So I went online and I found the gummy versions of the vitamins that Arman, Irfan, and I take, but that the younger kids were forgetting. And then I put it smack where they sit and eat. Like there's literally no way they can forget. Like it's right there. In fact, like we all see them, right? Now, I had to get over a little something because I like things like hidden away and put it in cabinets and stuff like that. But I'm like, what is more important, Mina? Your children taking these vitamins or your house looking a certain way? And I was like, my children taking the vitamins. We'll put them out on the counter, okay? This is me changing the environment. This was 4 months ago, 5 months ago. They have literally not had a day where they forgot to take their vitamins. First, they taste amazing. They're like really, really good. And secondly, it's right there in front of their face. So when I say change your environment, that's what I mean. Oh my God, I have to tell you something else. Oh my God, I can't believe I forgot to tell you this one. So one of the things I also had for 2022 was I had said that this year I'm going to make the most money I've ever made in any business that I've ever owned. And I'm going to have like the least amount of like office or like what I would consider work time. So basically what I was saying that I'm going to play more and more and more this year and earn more and more and more. Like I'm just going to quantum leap it. I didn't know how. That was what I put out in the field, okay? When we were moving into this house, which was on June 29th, it came to me how I was going to do it. Like the how comes later sometimes. So I put this out in January. In June, when we moved into this house has like the most fantastic views, many different options for offices. In fact, it has this ginormous office with like, you could put like 100-inch TV. I think your father just ordered a TV and we have a fabulous office and several spaces, right? You're not going to believe when Irfan was like, which office do you want in this house? Guess what I said? Does anyone want to guess? Arman, you're not allowed to play. You can't play because you know the answer. Yes, Alina insisted that I had to put a squishmallow on my pen. And I was like, I'm not going to be able to close it, like shut whatever that thing. And she was like, you can do it with the squishmallow. So yes, we have a squishmallow addict. And so we have to use a squishmallow on our pen. Yes. Oh my God. Okay. Esther's Secret said it. I said I didn't want an office and Irfan was super confused. He was like, but I just got you that large screen computer and I just got you this and are you sure? And I was like, I don't want an office. I said, Mina Irfan does not want an office because she's not going to be doing office work this year. She's just going to be playing like full on. Now you guys know I was pretty attached to my office in the old house. Been there, done that, right? In every business that I've had, the office has always been a whole thing for me, like decorating it and like it's the whole boss babe thing, right? I decided not to have an office. I have a studio for filming upstairs where I have my equipment and when people come over, they're like, what's happening in this room? We're like, YouTube studio, right? I don't have an office, okay? I have something like this where I can like just prop this up. Your father just got me this. Isn't that awesome? He said it reminded him of my like the deeper manifest and burnout work that I've been recently doing and teaching. So I just got this in the mail yesterday, this cover. So anyway, so I just like the whole world is my office. Like it's all my playground. So that's another example of consciously choosing your environment. So now when I'm sitting, like right now I'm looking at the most gorgeous views, right? Like you guys know my master suite has like the most gorgeous views ever. Can you guys see it? Like I'm literally like just having the most gorgeous views. I'm playing and then ideas just come to me. So you can change your environment by shifting things around, getting rid of things, you know, using different pens, like, you know, like just being more playful and more intentional with the things that you have already in your environment. So now that's the 80%, you're changing the environment. The 20% is then literally getting your blinders on and letting everything else in your life atrophy. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. I always have trouble with that word. And so for 2023, am I ready to reveal? Like, I don't even know if I have all the answers yet. I'm going to tap in for a second. Okay, I'm ready to reveal what I have so far. I don't know the hows yet. The universe sends them to me in different blocks, but I'm ready to reveal, okay? So in 2023, so far what's been revealed to me is that I've changed my branding as well to match this, is that I'm going to help the top 10% of women go into the top 1%. So in my life, I have been able to achieve the top 1% status. In fact, in certain areas of my life, I'm considered the top 1% within the top 1%. I know this is scary because I can't even believe that little old me, the one that started off with the old identity in Chicago, like how I would be considered the top 1% within the top 1%. But hey, if I can do it, trust me, anyone can do it. So, because I've achieved this in my relationship, I've achieved this in my net worth, I've achieved this in the type of money I get to earn every year, in the less number of hours I get to work, and how much I get to play, the way they get to travel, the house that I live in, the car that I drive. Because I've been able to achieve this, I feel like my next level gift to my community, to the planet, to the collective is helping the top 10% women go into the top 1%. Now, I literally had like a whole grief period. That's why I actually went and talked to the psychic, because here's what I told her and my friend Sapphire. They asked me, what's holding you back? Like, what's the part that keeps you from teaching the thing that you want to teach the most? And I said, the answer that came to me was, what keeps me away from that is that the thing I'm currently teaching, I'm really, really, really great at it. I'm amazing at it. So the relationship stuff that I've been teaching for many years that I don't want to teach anymore, I'm so good at it that it almost keeps me trapped. Because I have the highest testimonial rate, the highest success rate in the industry, I feel kind of like beholden to it. So when I said this, what came up for me was teach it one last time. That's why I launched Wife. I know many of you guys that are part of that. Teach it once, teach it like with all of your being, teach it with your soul, put everything in it, document it, turn it into a recorded course, and then don't look back. So when I'm done teaching Wifed, that will be the end of my relationship stuff. And then I will only be teaching the metaphysical, the one that like the stuff that God designed me to teach, the spiritual, metaphysical, top 1% woman stuff. So that's where I'm headed. I don't have all of the pieces yet, but it's been coming in small blocks, small decisions that are really bold and irreversible, that are, I don't know why I get nasally every time I start teaching this or start doing YouTube, but it's going to completely change my identity, which I know is going to completely change the energy of this group even further. I know this is the highest vibe group ever, but I think we're just all going to be rippled into it. So that's what's happening for me in 2023. That's why I changed my YouTube banner, my Instagram. I already started putting in, owning it, irreversible, announcing it. Hey, top 1% woman. Top, if anyone can teach women how to be in the top 1%, it's me. I am the queen of this because I literally started at the bottom of the bottom and made myself not only just the top 1%, but the 1% within the top 1%. Like little old me. Like if I can do it, I know that this is something that is going to like change the course of history for women. So I'm super, super, super duper excited. Let me check in with you guys. Mina, I love you. You are making me emotional. Hey, dreams. I'm so happy to have you guys. It's going to be amazing. Like, I know 2023 for all of us is just going to be next year. Is this normal that I resonate so much with this? So it is normal because I send out an energetic resonance, a wavelength with my soul. And the people that are on the same wavelength as me feel that and come flock to it, right? It's like, you know how other species like dogs and birds, they can hear things that we can't hear. They can see things that we can't see. They have different activations for sight and sound. Well, so do human beings. We all have different resonance. We flow on different wavelengths. And the like people, they flow together. And the ones that are kind of like off, they repel each other and they go in different directions. And that's how it's intended to be, so that we can find our soul families, our soul tribes. And so you and I, the reason that you resonate with everything I'm saying is because we are on the same wavelength. I consciously send that out there so that my soul tribe can feel it and come to me. That's how it's supposed to be. It's totally normal. Dang, I'm going to have to get wiped if it's your last time teaching relationships. However, I can't wait to see what you do next. Awesome, Courtney. Yes, it's the last time that I'm teaching it live. Of course, all my digital stuff will always remain. It's there for anyone that wants to buy it forever and ever. But that's the last time I'm teaching it live. That's why Million Dollar Man, which by the way, Irfan and I are teaching another live session in there tonight. And that, and then the wife will be the last, and then I'm just moving into, like, I want to teach more courses like Barkat. I have another one that it's coming through. It's so exciting. Okay, that one I'm really excited about. So Barkat, Manifest, if you've taken those courses or are taking them, Barkat, this, we only had one session, but that's the wavelength. Like, I'm going higher. I'm going like more soul aligned. And when I say I'm going higher, what it means is that I'm removing more of the not Mina, the layers, and like that my David, my Mina Irfan is being revealed more and more. This is definitely my wavelength. This is an actual thing, right? Like wavelengths, like we know how in physics, like how all of this works, that everything sends out a certain resonance, a certain wavelength, and like wavelengths, that's what they talk about when they're saying, you know, vibrational match. What does that mean? Well, scientifically, my being is sending out a certain wavelength, and the people that are matching it are like, ooh, who's that, right? The people that are like not matching it, they're like, oh, I'm repelled by that. I can't be with that, right? That's how it's meant to be. It's designed that way. Okay, let's see. I matched the 1%. Yay! If manifest is the standard, I can't wait for what's to come. There's been, so this is really interesting for me. You know, I have a lot of courses. I love all of them. They're all channeled like from the depth of my soul, and they're all evergreen content that will be there forever, because there's people that come in different levels. There's people coming in that still need the 90-day relationship rehab or self-aware Barbie, all that stuff, right? So I'm gonna always leave that up there because I'm not here to judge at what level someone's finding me. However, there's two courses that I taught that changed in me so much that I couldn't go back. The first one was Femme Fortune. When I taught the container course, something shifted in me. That was that in 2021 or 2020? Something shifted, and I knew that I would never, like, something energetically changed. Like, I got an upgrade from teaching that course. The one after that was Manifest. After I taught Manifest, I said, I can't go back to the relationship stuff. Like, I'm just done with it. Like, I just want to do more up level stuff. The thing that was holding me back is that I'm really, really good at it. And they actually say this. I've heard many people talk about how the thing that you're really great at will often keep you away from your zone of genius. My zone of genius is the metaphysical stuff. No one teaches it like me. No one has the same wavelength as me. Like, it's one of a kind. That's my zone of genius. But then I'm so great at the relationship stuff that that's the thing that becomes kind of the one that people will often pull you back at. In fact, let me tell you, 3 people this week bought my newest private coaching package, which is called the Top 1% Woman. It's a one-on-one coaching package with me. And I told them, look, I'm not doing relationship coaching anymore. I'm just doing this Top 1% Woman. And three of the women that reached out, they said, what if we bought the package and asked you relationship questions? And I'm like, no, like, I'm like, it's priced at entrepreneur level. It's like for they're like, yeah, we are entrepreneurs, but what if while we're talking to you about entrepreneur stuff or metaphysical stuff, we threw in I'm like, it's okay. Once you're already on the call, of course, I'm not going to be like, no, I refuse to answer your relationship questions. I'll do it. And they like paid within seconds. This is just this week. So I know that it's still going to come up in coaching, obviously, because the Top 1% Woman also wants the dream relationship. I'm okay with teaching it there, but I don't want myself to be known as a relationship coach anymore. I want to go for what is the real Mina Irfan, which is the metaphysical stuff. So yes, I know that the top 1% women will want the dream relationship. Of course, I'm happy to answer those questions as they come up within the coaching packages, but it will not be like my focus, if that makes sense. I have not, so I was going to announce it in January, but then we keep getting emails from people. I have a projector, so I get a lot of invitations of people saying, what's going to be your January coaching package? What's your coaching?" So we've already had people kind of under the radar signing up. If you want to take a look at it, I can send it to you. Obviously for people without the people with the university bundle, remember that everything is always discounted for you that's not included in the bundle, like private coaching and intensive. So don't buy this without checking in with us first if you have the university bundle. Here's the top 1% package. So the ideal woman for this will be someone who is already living in the top 10% and wants to go in the top 1%. I just loved how these women were like, what if we just threw in a question? And I was like, I was like, see, it's not gonna be easy for me to redeem. And I think the reason is because I have like decades of experience in the evolutionary side of the stuff and the male psychology and the female psychology. I get it. Like I'm not discounting my experience and stuff. It's always going to be there and I'll probably pull on it. Just like I pull on my nutrition experience, even though I'm not teaching or coaching it on health anymore. So I will still pull on it, but it's not going to be my main focus. I love how you never branded yourself as a relationship guru, but as a universe guru, you have always been in alignment without knowing. Yes, and the funny thing is that Irfan was the one that used to call me the universe guru when we got married. That's how that came through. I don't know if a lot of you guys, do you know the story of the universe guru brand and how, did you know that it was originally a blog? It's so hilarious because he came up with that term. It wasn't something that I was like referring myself as. A lot of people think that that's how it came back. But I think my soul knew when I was a baby that I was here to do bigger and bigger things. And not that relationships aren't big, it's a big piece. But at this point, I feel like I've said everything I wanted to say about it. And in Wifed, I'm definitely going to put everything that I've ever known into it as much as I can, obviously. So then it's there forever and people can buy it as a digital. Can you explain what you mean by the top 10% woman? Okay, so think of the self-aware Barbie and think of like the layers of her, like the stages. There's the kind of self-aware Barbie that just consumes information and spits it out, right? As we started talking about in the beginning of this training. And then there's like the top tier self-aware Barbie. Think of CEOs, entrepreneurs. These are women that seem to walk on water, right? Like anything they touch turns to gold. Like literally, they master everything that they touch. These are women that look amazing, smell amazing, make money like it's no one's business. They live in beautiful homes, they drive nice cars, they are perfectly manicured. Like they have everything together. Typically, these are the top 10% women. The reason I call them the 10% is because they have their fitness together, right? They're usually within their last 10 pounds, if you know these women, right? And they have their finances together, okay? They're earning multiple six figures a year at least. Like that's the base, that's like the lower level for these women. They're in the top 10%. And going deeper, they don't have the $1 million babe complete embodiment yet. Because of that, their relationships, even if they have them, they're kind of like, it's like best friends, roommates, but it's not like yummy tear each other's clothes off. Like there's that little bit of something missing, that next level. And so primarily they've done the 10% thing using mostly their masculine energy, a little bit of feminine, but mostly their masculine energy. I get a great deal of satisfaction from taking these top 10% women into the top 1%. I have done this over and over again in the last 5 years. And as I look back in my entire journey with this business, not my previous business, but this one, I'm constantly asking myself, what are the women that are just like soulmate clients? Like, what are the women that I just really, really enjoy working with? Whether it's about relationships or money or whatever, those are the women that are like my soul tribe. I love taking the top 10% women into the top 1%. So, how do I know that I'm a top 1% woman? So, let me give you my qualifications of that, like how I know I'm in it. I constantly and consistently, people tell us, other people around us, family members, friends, clients, that they have never seen a relationship like ours. Like when we go out, Irfan and I will go out date night, and people that don't know us think we just got married or we just started dating. And so our experience of our relationship is one of just can't keep our hands off each other, soulmate, twin flame. Like to me, the kind of relationship that is worth reincarnating over and over and over again for and having the same partner is the relationship that I have. That puts me, according to my definition, in the top 1% of relationships. And it's not just my illusion. Irfan thinks the same thing, and people constantly give us that feedback. So it's not something that's just embodied from within, but like people can feel it from outside as well. That puts me in the top 1% of my relationship games, right? Another reason is because if you pull up right now, if you Google top 10, top 1% earners in the United States, what are the income levels? What the top 1% income earners earn in a year, I make double that in a month. What they earn in a year, I make double that number in a month. That's what puts me in the top 1% within the top 1%. Can you see that? Okay, the other thing is, in the women of my culture, the women that would be considered my closest peers, uh, when I'm like in a group of women in my culture, I'm consistently um, thought like other people think that I belong in the group of the 20 somethings. So what I'm trying to say is that women in my culture, I look like how someone would look when they're 25, 26 in my culture. That puts me in the top 1% because people are constantly surprised. They're like, that can't be your son. Like, what? Like, how? Like, I thought you were 26. So when you see how it's like, how did all of that happen? I intentionally created that. It is very much a formula that not only I follow, but I've helped thousands of women follow. So this isn't something that I'm just making up and I'm like, yay, I'm just the top percent. It is the feedback that I also receive from other people, meaning I'm not the only delusional one sitting here thinking that I'm the one. Like, if you look at the stats and the numbers and the feedback, it all vibes, right? So that's what I mean. So also, if you search for top 1% net worths in the United States, we are in the top 1% of net worths in the United States. In fact, I don't know if it's the world one I looked at. So I'm not just making this up. I'm saying I went consciously after certain goals and then manifested them, achieved them, did it with masculine and feminine energy. Okay. I don't know if I've ever shared this with anyone, but I'll share this with you guys. It's kind of a little bit embarrassing. Okay, I'm just gonna own it. Let me get over the feeling of it. Embarrassment is showing up in my belly and over here. Hold on. Let me feel through this and then I'm just gonna freaking own it and say it. Okay, it's gone. Okay. My intention was that I want to have the sexy, feminine trophy wife look and energy, but then totally be a boss babe. Like that, I wanted both the things. What I found was I would see trophy wives that were like trophy wives, and then they weren't earning anything themselves. And there was a certain kind of energy that I liked that they had. But then I saw boss babes And then, in fact, YouTube recommended this training to me the other day. I was watching YouTube, and you know how it makes suggestions? It suggested this, like, it said something like the top 10% women or something. And I was surprised. I'm like, wait, someone else has that branding? So I clicked on it, and it was this seminar for women. And it was like you took a whole bunch of men and put makeup on them and put feminine clothing. Like, you could see the masculine energy coming from these women. They were very much, you can see the burnout in their skin. You could see they were overweight. They were successful top 10% women, but like you could see the cost on them. You could see it, right? Like it was like, ooh, girl, that's costing you. It's expensive. And that reminded me, I was like, you know what? Years ago, when I had set that intention that I want the energy and the look and the vibe and the hormones of a trophy wife while also being able to do that, I believe I've mastered it. Okay. Because I get to, of course, you guys, when you see me most of the time, I'm more in my masculine than my feminine because you're seeing me here. But if you watch me on Instagram where I'm just sharing my stories and I'm just, you can see the difference, right? So, I have, through my inner work and through being fluid in my energy and being able to switch, I can do the whole feminine, housewife, pleasure, like rested, like looking, as my friend Chris says, well watered, like looking all of that. And then also being able to make $1 million a month, right? So I have mastered the art of doing both. And it comes down to the energy that you run and how it impacts your hormones. That's the key. That's the key. So if I could take all of those women in that training that YouTube recommended to me, and I could take them all, I could fix their energy where they could lose the weight that they were carrying. There was a lot of, they were all very successful, but you could see, you could literally like feel the, what is it called? What is the stuff people wear under garments to like suck in their stomach? Like all that uncomfortable stuff that you have to wear, that people wear, women wear. Like you could feel that on them underneath their dresses and stuff. Like it was just like a really tight, constricted energy. Spanx, yeah, they had like, they had all of that. They had all of that going on to like hold it all together, but you could see the cost of them having the success. I didn't want the cost. I just wanted the benefits. Okay? That's the top 1% woman, doing it with the feminine and the masculine, not just the masculine. In fact, someone just wrote an article about me that's going to be published. They sent it to me for proof, and that's exactly, it's talking about how I talked about, well, it was like they interviewed me and then turned it into an article kind of situation, which are always a little iffy because I feel like it's not quite what you said. But anyways, it was good enough. It was good enough. It talked about how a lot of women these days are not using their feminine energy. They're only using their masculine, and there's a big cost to pay because of that. Yes, I didn't want the cost. I just wanted the benefits. Corset, yeah, Spanx, that's what I'm talking about. All of that constriction stuff. I wore that thing once in my life and I swear off of it. In fact, I interrupted the dinner to go in the bathroom and I like literally stripped myself down, took it off and threw it in the garbage. It left like I had like anyways, I won't get too graphic, but it was horrible. Horrible. Okay. All right, ladies, thank you so much for joining me. And remember that the 6-month payment plan for the university bundle ends on December 31st. Additionally, you can use the code I am worthy for 11% off of that extra. This is the last time that you can buy the university bundle in its original form. It will be changing for 2023, where you're not going to get access to future courses, and it might not be lifetime. I haven't completely decided yet. So anyways, I love you guys. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. This was so much fun. I have to go prepare for my live session in the $1 Million Man with my husband tonight. And then we're going to go see Avatar part 2 today. Avatar the Water movie. Has anyone seen that? Let me know if you've seen that movie. Super excited about seeing that in 3D tonight. All right, babes. I love you. See you in the next one.